What's up, fellow fighters? This is CJ at Team Plays for Days. I know it's been a while since our last video. It's just taking us some time to get you all some more content. But don't worry, we definitely got some fresh content coming your way with these new sets like Buddy Rave and the Invincible Dragon. Expect some hype videos in the future. So let me go and get started with today's video. I'm bringing you my hero world deck profile on Dark Heroes. In my opinion, the Dark Heroes is one of the strongest hero world decks out there right now. And with the new support, I'm definitely expecting to be a top contender in the upcoming events for Worlds. So with that, let me go ahead and start off with my build. So I'm rocking the Buddy, the Inverted Cranium, Reverse Skull. This is probably one of my favorite Dark Hero World cards, or Dark Heroes right now. Its effect is amazing. So first off, when it enters the field, if you're equipped with a Dark Hero item, it becomes a size 1. So you're already looking at size 1 rush, which is, like, to me, one of the best things you can do with Dark Heroes. Its next effect is once it enters the field, you can pay a gauge and discard a card from your hand. When you do, you give your equipped item plus 2,000 power and an extra critical. Insane. So whether you're equipped with Sneak Judgment or Mukuro, please, most likely you'll be equipped with Mukuro. Then it gets, so you'll be swinging with either a 6,000 power 3 critical Sneak Judgment or a 7,000 power 3 critical Mukuro. And I'll go into Mukuro later on and you'll see why he gets even nastier. And then also, once Skull attacks, he goes back to your hand, so you can recycle him for later. So, as far as size 1s, I'm playing 4 copies of Kill Knight. Kill Knight's the only size 0 in the deck, honestly. He's a really good Dark Hero monster. After he attacks, if you're equipped with a Dark Hero item, he returns back to your hand. And then also, once he's discarded, then you are allowed to either burn one of your opponent's gauge or increase your gauge by 1. Most of the time, increasing your gauge by 1 is going to be the optimal play for Dark Heroes, just because they do need that gauge cell. And it actually just helps push for gain as far as being able to increase your gauge from like 1 to 2, so you can go into your Death Crest, or if you need to get Mukuro, that secondary attack. But that's it for the size 1s or 0s. As far as size 1s, I'm playing 2 copies of Shadow Hero Weiss. He's basically just to pop those items on the field, pesky items, especially like when you're facing against 5th Omni, or if your opponent doesn't have Astra on the field, you can go ahead and pop Providence before he hits the field. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Sacrifice Iron Clash, or Slash. With his effect, he has an axe skill. You can discard a Dark Hero from hand and burn your opponent for 1, and then he destroys himself after his attack. Mainly, you want to use him to, if you can discard a Kill Knight to deal that extra damage, but mostly he's in there for that 6,000 power just so you can start swinging over big monsters, especially since you want to open up your opponent's center as easily as possible. Next, 2 copies of Darkness Fist Gwen. The Shadow Dive. This is one of the biggest things that Dark Heroes have against close center wall decks. You can just be like, oh, call, swing through your opponent's monster, hit him for 2, and then he returns to your hand once he deals damage. So that's definitely something for people that are playing against this deck, as well as people that are playing the deck, to make sure that they do notice he has to deal damage in order to bounce back to the hand. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Baby Schwartz. This guy's really good with the gauge cell. He's probably one of the main reasons I honestly don't personally play Hyper Energy. When he enters the field, you discard a Dark Hero from hand, and when you do, you get to gauge 2 cards. Really good for gauge cell, and of course, once he's done attacking, he bounces back to your hand, so you can just keep constantly recycling this guy. And then the last of my size 1s, I'm playing 3 copies of the Scar. He's a 4/3/4. When he's done attacking, he destroys himself. I'm thinking about trying to bump this guy up to 4 just so I have more plays with the spell card, but he is of the lowest rank. This guy and Crash are the only ones that allow me to do that. But definitely these guys are still good. Swinging 3 credits your opponent's face, they either are going to take that and deal with it later, or try and destroy him. Either way is fine. That's it for the size 1s. As far as size 2s, I'm playing 3 copies of Violent Lord Crow. He's a 624. Again, a good monster to have swing power with. He's a size 2. When he enters the field, you top deck a gauge. Good gauge cell again. And if you have a Dark Hero on the field, after he attacks, he destroys himself. So he's not only just a good first turn play to gauge an extra card, but you can at least sit on him in the center just to kind of slow up your opponent's opening attacks, just so you don't take too much damage and you don't really want him to destroy himself too soon. Then 4 copies of the Buddy, Reverse Skull. I've already gone over him, so we'll just kind of slide him out the way there. And then the star of the show, 4 copies of our 9th Omni Brave Lord, Mukuro. Mukuro is a 5/2/5. You transform into him for 1 gauge. So he's the best Dark Hero out there. He is the Omni Lord, so that explains it. But with his skill, if you have no monsters on the field after he attacks, you can pay gauge, stand him, and increase his critical by 1. So once you put Reverse Skull on the field and increase critical to 3 and 7,000 power, then you stand it and you swing again, this time going for 4 crit instead of just 3 crit. Insane damage that you can just push into your opponent. And then of course, if you've already dealt the 3 and the 4, they're going to take that Infinity Death Crest afterwards. So that's it on the size 2s. As far as actual items, I'm just playing 2 copies of Sneak Judgment. Mukuro is the ideal item that I want to be equipped with, but Sneak Judgment is really good for early game if you don't start off with Mukuro, just to kind of give you that hand advantage once you start calling monsters and bouncing them back to your hand or they destroy themselves so you can draw a card. Also, this is going to be another answer as far as Shadow Dive. If you have a Dark Hero on the field, this card does get Shadow Dive, and if you call the Reverse Skull, you're swinging with a 6,000 power 3 crit item there that's going to have Shadow Dive and allow you to draw once your monsters start leaving the field. So that's it on those. And then as far as the impact, 3 copies of Infinity Death Crest. This is your second win condition, Mukuro being the first. Infinity Death Crest, of course, you know, you can only activate if you have a Dark Hero item equipped and you have no monsters on the field. Pay 4 gauge. If your opponent's life is a 4 or less, deal 4. The damage cannot be reduced, so that just ensures your victory there. Definitely a very powerful impact. Playing it at 4 I feel is too cloggy, so you definitely want to have it at 3, no less than that. That way you're seeing the card and you can at least use it for like discarding if you start to draw into too many. Again, second win condition after Mukuro. As far as spells, I'm playing 2. It's about time I got serious. With this deck, you can definitely get pushed down with life really fast since it's more of an aggressive thing. So, it's about time I got serious. We can definitely play this. Pay gauge, draw 2 cards. We all know what it does. Next, we got 2 copies of the Evil Aesthetics. Pay a gauge and a life. And you can add a Dark Hero. It's 2 or up to 2, sorry, with 2 Dark Heroes of the same size to your hand. Or you can choose an item and put it into your hand, and these cards are coming from the drop zone. This is just good to recycle all your size 1s, or if your opponent's destroyed your Mukuro as an item and you have that in a Reverse Skull in your drop zone, you can just add those back to your hand and just reuse them. It's basically just the Dark Hero armor reuse with a cost. I'm playing 2 Stop Right There. If you have no monsters on the field, and you can pay a gauge and a life, and you can rest a monster on your opponent's field, this just allows you to slow down your opponent's attacks. Especially with decks getting a little bit more faster as far as pushing more damage and allowing more attacks, you definitely want to be able to slow that down. Even if your opponent's playing just like a big monster, like if you're going up against wall decks, like the new Jaeger that's going to be coming out, or if you're fighting against Aster, you just can be like, they say battle phase, you stop that attack, and you can at least slow down them for a turn and allow you to go into one more play. I'm playing 2 copies of Damage Control. Damage Control to me is just another shield in this deck. You can discard a card and reduce the damage by 2. If you discard a Battle Deity Robo, which you're just going to be discarding another damage control. You can reduce the damage by 4. So this is good against any kind of like Shadow Dive or anything that's going to do massive damage to you. You can slow it down that way. And then 3 copies of But He Is of the Lowest Rank. When one of your monsters leaves when your size 1 monster leaves the field during your attack phase, you can activate this to add either a Dark Hero item or a monster to your hand. So this is just a good draw engine to search out your Makuros or your Sneak Judgment, or if you need to go ahead and search for a Reverse Skull, this just allows you to go into combo plays that way. 3 copies of First Dark Hero Hideout. This very powerful spell card allows you to draw whenever your Dark Hero enters the field. It says only once per turn. Just good draw power since Dark Heroes definitely need that. And then last but not least, I have 4 copies of I've Seen Through Your Moves, the basic attack null for Hero World. Gotta have the shields. But alright, that was my deck profile on my Dark Hero build. Like I said, be expecting a whole lot more videos coming from us here in the future. We're going to have matches, deck profiles, all that good stuff coming up to you. Until then, we'll holla.